truck driver who was supposed to deliver a cargo of ammunition to you in Phoenix is now in a Mexico prison. You're saying he doesn't belong there. Tell us what happened.
Okay, we purchased 9 pallets of ammunition, 25,000 pounds, from a legal distributor, and we are a legal ammunition dealer in Phoenix, Arizona. We have a retail shop here, and we do most of our sales online as an internet supplier. This person was contracted to a freight company to pick this up and deliver it to us. It was coming out of Tennessee, going to Phoenix, Arizona. It wound up in Texas because the freight company had 3 LTLs, which is less than a truckload, to go into El Paso, Texas. On his third delivery, he accidentally got lost downtown and got on the bridge to go to Mexico. From what I hear from a lot of people and a lot of internet stories that are out there on blog spots, it's not hard to do. Mm-hmm. When he got on that bridge, he saw a cop that was directing traffic. This is a crowded bridge, I understand, and he's on an 18-wheeler, and he asked the cop he needs to turn around. He's not going into Mexico. He was instructed that he cannot turn around on that bridge, just go into Mexico and turn around and come right back through the border. Well, easier said than done. Mm-hmm. Once he crossed into the border, they searched his vehicle and immediately detained him. Would not care to see. He doesn't speak Spanish. They didn't let him show the bill of lading or any of the legal papers to show this was an accident. No one listened to him. They eventually arrested him. They seized the cargo and put this thing all over the news in Mexico that this was the largest cartel seizure of ammunition, that it was AK-47 ammunition and 5.56 ammunition for 2 kinds of assault weapons, one being the AK-47 and one being an AR-15, which they're having problems with the cartel down in Mexico, that this is their weapons of choice.
But you're saying that's not the ammunition he was for hauling.
That's exactly correct. It is 250,000 rounds of Pakistani surplus 7.6251 or 308 ammunition. It wouldn't fit in an AK-47, as anyone that is familiar with firearms would know. They have to know this, but they just rather it makes their case better and sells more newspapers to call it AK ammunition.
It's amazing to me, though. This truck driver gets information from a police officer to go through. Now he's sitting there in a prison. The ATF's been investigating the case. They're saying this was, as they can tell at this point, legitimate cargo. But what are they doing to help get this guy out?
The embassy says they're working on it. The owner of the trucking company is more involved with the embassy. I don't think anyone is doing anything. I think this poor guy is a political prisoner right now, and they're going to ride this thing. It's a political season in Mexico, I understand right now, and obviously we're in the middle of a political season. So unfortunately, the care of an innocent guy that's trying to make a living driving a truck is absolutely not cared. And from what I understand, the conditions of those prisons in Mexico is horrid. Mm-hmm. He has not been able to speak to his family. He can't speak to his boss. I guess they say he gets 1 phone call every 3 months, and he made that the first night to his mother very briefly.
And as I understand, he doesn't even have an attorney.
No, he has no attorney. There's no money for them. I would like to see someone eventually set some kind of legal defense fund out, somebody that might have ties with somebody that can do something, an attorney that might want to make a name. This is a travesty of justice. I mean, 100%. I mean, this is just, I'm not even worried. My situation is a secondary note. I mean, we're out and we're a small business, and our markup is very small. Our business primarily, ammunition is a commodity item, and prices fluctuate on supply and demand and political situations, and there is not a large markup in ammo. Ammo must be sold and moved and keep flowing for any profit to be made. This is devastating to us financially, what we lost. It is legal cargo, our legal property, and we're out this money, which is another issue, but that's secondary because we got a human life here, that someone is in prison. That's, to me, way more important than any dollar figure that you can put on it. And it's just, this whole thing is an extreme mess. And you're right, the ATF, we have no problem with them. They came in like gentlemen, asked a couple questions, and we gave them the paperwork they wanted to see, checked it out, see everything is legitimate. I asked them, they said, this is a Mexican problem with the consulate. Their job of enforcement is out of it. So, and I can understand, I mean, that they did their thing. They found out that everything was legal here, or I'm sure that's what they said their preliminary investigation shows to the newspapers. I spoke to the same agent the next day to find out what happened. He told me everything checks out, but, and I said, what about the ammunition and the return of it? And he said, that's not in his jurisdiction. That's through the consulate. And
and you look at Mexico, the corruption there. You got to wonder where that ammunition could end up. I mean, it is a travesty.
I don't even want to say it because that's just speculating like the newspapers. But I think I'm going to say it as a tongue-in-cheek joke, but it might not be. But that might be the easiest way to get it to the cartel is to give it to the Mexican government. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that as a joke, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and most important is this truck driver, as you're saying. And do you have any idea what's next? I mean, is he going to be in court? He faces up to 25 years in prison.
That's insane. And all this guy, for all we know, this person doesn't even own a firearm. I mean, he was driving a truck. I mean, that's as innocent as it comes. Yeah, it's insane.
Well, and we'll have to see what happens. But as you said, he has no attorney, and you really think they're trying to. This is an election year in Mexico. You think they're trying to make this a political issue?
I absolutely do. I mean, it's really not hard. If they really were interested in justice here, it's really not hard for them to see. It's very simple. The ammunition was ordered by us. It was paid for by us. It is paid for. It's our said property. It was assigned to a trucking company. They were hauling it. They do LTLs, which is less than a truckload, and they were on their way. Last I got a call was I was going to have it to offload 7 o'clock the next morning. Well, that next morning never came because he never got out the night before to head to Phoenix.
Well, and the people who told me about this story, they live in the El Paso area, and they say this happens more than enough. And, they were talking about how so often in Mexico, these local areas have a history of going after people just like this truck driver, but they never go after the bad guys.
Yeah, well, they're afraid of the bad guys. This guy can't do nothing to harm them.
All right.
The bad guys are dangerous. This guy's not a dangerous guy. This guy's a legitimate working man in America, as we are. As the truck drivers, the trucking company probably stands to lose a rig, and I have no idea how much a rig is, but I'm sure that's substantial, and, they're just going to keep this stuff, and that's just not right. We need help somewhere along the line. We need, whether it's the consulate, I don't know. I'm in the business to sell ammunition, not on how to put pressure on the consulate to get back due property as an American businessman of how to get back my merchandise that was paid for, that it's a devastating hit.
And to get a man released from prison.
And let alone that. And more important, get a man that is innocent released from prison.